Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Thunder, and today we're gonna be working on the Or Survival game series. I'm pretty excited to be making videos for this again, so let's see how quickly we can get through this one because it's not that hard. So what we're gonna be doing in today's video is basically what you're seeing here. You can see my map is cleared of trees. Now, before we would place our trees like this. We would go here, select trees, and just place it down. Now, we're not gonna be doing that anymore. So first thing you gotta do is, so you see these trees I place here. You hold shift and you click and you see how I'm deleting them. So remove all trees from your map. Let me just disable this. Alright, and now this is what we're going to be coding. So this is a random spawner. What we're going to be doing is we're going to create this script which is going to spawn a certain amount of trees based on the location that we give it. So in this case, it's going to spawn inside this box. Now I only have one because, I'm on my laptop, so it's not that good specs and I don't want to blow it up. So you're going to see now when I hit play how trees are going to spawn. So just give it a minute. But yeah, you can see how they spawned. Now, I have it set to a low amount. They do spawn on the outskirts of the area too. But, that's a bug, but I decided to turn it into an actual feature. It feels like it's not as square as normal. Now, in this case, I only have a couple of trees. But now you can put as many as you want in your game. So just keep in mind that if you do that, you're gonna have some trouble with performance. So you better optimize. Now, let's get started to it. I'm just gonna reset everything back to normal and I'll show you guys. Alright, so I already deleted everything. Now, first thing we're gonna need, we're gonna make a prefab out of a tree so we can actually gather it. So we can actually hit it and destroy it. Sorry if you're hearing a car engine on the background. So, yep. Now what we're gonna do is go over here and select. I'm gonna search it up by the trees I'm using, which the trees I'm using are from the Unity standard assets. Now, if you want to use another tree, you're using another model, just search it by that name. All right. But in my case, the one I want to use is called Conifer. So it's right here, Conifer Desktop. We're gonna drag it into our scene. And you can see we got it right here. Now, here's what we're gonna do. First of all, right click on it and select prefab, unpack completely. Next, we're going to go all the way down here. And first open it up. And all of this that says collision, delete it. So just select all of this that says collider and delete them. Now go ahead and select your main object and we're gonna add a capsule collider. Then this capsule collider, what we're gonna do is, where is it exactly? Okay, it's down there. Now we're gonna make it so it goes all the way along our trunk. That way we can actually hit it and we collide with it. For those of you that have been using Unity only for like the past couple of I would say 5 years or so, maybe a little bit more, this used to be painful, okay? What I'm doing right now. Cause before, any change you would make to one of the default trees, it would mean that it wouldn't apply when you were doing it with the terrain brush, which we're not using right now, but I have a point. So my point is, all of the trees would appear without collider with the terrain brush. I remember the first time I did that, I was so annoyed because I didn't know how to fix it. It was literally my first time using Unity. So now finally the terrain has collisions. It took them what? Until 2016, 2017 to fix that. Great job, Unity. Alright, so now that we have this, we're gonna add another component, and this is gonna be your gatherable script, gatherable object, and I'm just gonna give it like, I don't know, 10 hits. And for the preferred tools, I'm gonna select my stone hatchet, although you don't really need one. And on our gather tables, or gather data, I'm gonna select the wood gather data. Now, you guys might not have this one, but I do have it because I already created it. Just in case you don't remember how to do it, just right click, create, survival game, I believe it was gathering, and gather data. Then you get one of these, you select the item that it's going to give you and the amount. That's it. Now we have our conifer. I'm just gonna rename it to tree. Then let's go ahead and make a prefab out of it. So go to your prefabs folder. In this case, I'm gonna put it into world. Then just drag your tree in here. That's gonna be it. You can already go ahead and delete it. Now, let's go into our scripts. In this case, I already have it created, but I'm just gonna show you where I got it. So I believe it's on world. Yep. And it's called random spawner. So that's the name. Just create a new script called like that, and let's get into it. Alright, first thing we're gonna need is gonna be a public int, and it's gonna be the max entities. Actually, no, it's gonna be entities to spawn. Amount of entities to spawn. Let's call it like that. I actually know what, max entities, that's it. So I'm just gonna default it to like 20 or so. Now this is the max amount of objects that we're going to have at one time. So let's say we're respawning on objects and we've got 10 left. We're only gonna respawn 10 more. So that's pretty much how the system is going to work. Now, next thing is going to be, we're gonna make a public game object array. So the 2 square brackets, and we're gonna call it spawnable entities. Then we're also going to go ahead and do public game object, public list game object, and we're gonna call it spawned entities. Now let me see what else we need. We need the range, okay, space, and we're gonna do a public float. But what we're going to do is, give me just 1 second. Alright, sorry, as I was saying, I had to take a look at the original script. We're gonna make a float called range x. Actually, we're gonna name it width. I think that's how you type it, not sure. I'm gonna default it to 10. Then we're gonna make a public float length. And we're gonna default it to 10 also. Plus another public float, and you guessed it, height. And we're gonna default it to 10. Now, we want to draw that square that you guys saw, so we're gonna use the built-in Unity gizmos. Now, we're going to do on draw gizmos, there we go, and we're gonna do gizmos color, I think it is that, yep, but we're gonna need something here, one more thing. We're gonna do a public color, and I'm just gonna default it to color.green. That's gonna be the default value. Now, we're gonna do, I think it's gizmos, gizmos.color equals color, and then draw I don't remember the exact syntax. Draw cube. So gizmos.draw cube, and then over here we have to put the origin of the cube, the position, and the size. So what we're gonna do is transform dot position, comma, new vector 3, and then for our x value, so the first one we're gonna put either width or length, whichever one you want, it doesn't really matter. width, comma, height, comma, length. And there we go, we have a fully customizable cube. Now, I control S. Next thing is going to be our actual function, but we do need something else. So I'm gonna go up here where it says max entities, and right above it we're gonna do public float respawn time. So how long is it gonna take to respawn? I'm gonna put every 10 minutes, so that's gonna be 1200 seconds. There we go. And then all the way down here we're gonna make a private float, and we're gonna call it current timer. So this is basically gonna be a respawn timer for our objects. And now we're actually going to get into the actual spawning of the objects. What we're gonna be doing next is we're gonna do public, I believe it's, okay, sorry, start. Then what we're going to be doing here is current timer equals respawn time, and then we're gonna go into update function. So let's do the update. Over here we're gonna be basically checking for our timer. If it's already reached, we check for the respawns, and if we have at least one entity available to respawn, we go ahead and respawn it. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and it's not that hard of a system. Now the hard part is going to be where we check whether it's on our terrain or not. And even that is kind of simple, but that's the hardest part of the script. So let's go ahead and first do the timer. So if current timer is less than respawn time, then current timer plus equals time dot delta time. Then we're gonna do else, and we're going to run a for. Actually no. First we're gonna need an int, and we're gonna call it amount to respawn. Now I'm just gonna default it to 0 for now, and we're gonna type in the for. But first we're gonna need a public I enumerator. So basically what we're gonna be doing is creating a loop. Spawn object, and then we're gonna pass it a game object obj. Now make your two parentheses. Alright, never mind. We'll worry about that later. So, okay, I think we can use that. Let me just do yield return no, and see if that works. Okay, yeah, we cannot. Yeah, we can pass the object on. Alright. So we're going to run a for. So for int I equals 0 if I is less than, I believe it's amount to spawn, amount to respawn, then I plus plus. Now on each one of these we're gonna do spawn object. Actually no, we're gonna do start coroutine spawn object, and we're gonna pass it an obj that we're going to randomly choose from our list. Now next thing we're gonna do is, first of all, we have to check up here if we actually have something on our list, because otherwise it's gonna give us a syntax error. Well, not syntax, it's gonna give us a null reference error, and we don't want that to happen, especially if you're actually planning on releasing a game. That's not something real nice to have going around the consoles and everything. So we're gonna do if spawnable entities dot length is less than or equal to 0. We're going to return, but before returning we're going to debug.log error spawnable entities is not set. Alright, and that's pretty much it. What that's gonna do is going to give us an error on our Unity console telling us that that's not happening. Again, this is really useful when it comes to coding, because if out of nowhere you're testing the script, nothing's spawning, and you don't know what's going on, then you can check your console and you would know what's going on. So always debug, always do that. Even when you're releasing, unless you're releasing on a how do you say it, a development build, that's how it's called. Unless you're releasing your game as a development build, which you shouldn't be doing in the first place, you're gonna have a hard. You're not gonna want this in there. Doesn't really matter if you're releasing on development build. Make sure to delete this. Otherwise, it's not really a big deal. You should just keep it in there. Now, we gotta choose our object. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do int chosen entity equals 0, and then we're gonna do chosen entity equals random dot range, and we're gonna do 0 comma it's spawnable entities dot length. Alright, and there we go. Then we do spawn object, and we're gonna pass it spawnable entities, and we're gonna pass it do 2 square brackets, and we're gonna do chosen entity. And there we go. This part is done. Now we gotta do this one right here, which is the most complicated one. So we're gonna need a bool, and it's going to be called found spot, and we're gonna have it equals to false by default. Then down here we're gonna do yield return null, and here we're gonna do while. So basically this is always gonna play this code while a spot has not been found. So while found is not, so exclamation sign found spot, then you're gonna run this code. Now here is what we're gonna do. We're basically gonna be shooting a raycast from the sky pretty much all the way down, and if we hit our terrain and there's nothing in that area, that's where we're gonna spawn it. So let's go ahead and do that. If physics.raycast, and we're gonna do transform. Actually no, we're gonna need something first, and that's gonna be, we're gonna need to randomize our position. So the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna create a vector3 spawn pos, that's how I'm gonna call it, and we're gonna do it equals to transform dot position. Now we're gonna do one more thing. So spawn pos plus dot x plus equals. Now here's something really important. You need to make sure if you put your width on x and your length on the z-axis, you need to make sure you put that the same way in here. So you do x as width or length depending on what you put it here. In my case I did width, height, and length, so that's how I'm going to do it. So width would be the x, height would be the y, and length will be the z. So what we're going to do here is plus equals random dot range, and we're going to do negative width comma width, so positive width. Then spawn pos dot y plus equals, and we're gonna do height because we don't want to randomize our height, we just want to set it to the limit. And then spawn pos dot z plus equals random dot range, and same thing, negative length comma length. There we go. Now that's where we're gonna shoot our raycast from. So the position that we're gonna shoot it from is this spawn pos. Actually no, check pos. We're gonna call this check pos. No, never mind. Sorry about that, guys. Spawn pos, comma vector3 dot down, comma out raycast hit, comma, and what we're gonna do in here is math f that infinity, because we don't want to miss anything, you know. So we're putting a range on it, but we still want it to spawn at some point. So just not to risk it, we're just gonna use math f that infinity. Now Here we're going to check if, I believe is, okay, first of all I misspelled this one right here, so let me just put it back here. There we go. So if hit that transform, yes, dot get component. So component terrain is not equals null. Basically what we're checking if we hit our terrain. And if we did hit our terrain, we're gonna run the spawn code. But first, at the end, we want to make it found spot. Okay, found spot equals true. All right. Also, so it does geo return now. Okay. Also, over here, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do actually spawnable entities dot. Okay, no. We're gonna do game object spawnable spawn object obj. I'm just gonna do spawn obj equals instantiate, and we're gonna do obj comma transform parent now. We're gonna do, I believe it would be hit dot point comma, then this last one is going to be the rotation. So for the rotation we're gonna do, I believe it's quaternion dot identity. Yep, that's it. Now this is actually spawning everything, but we do need to add it to our list and make sure we're checking for it. So that's the last thing we gotta do. Let's just make sure that it's actually working here. So let me just, okay. Yeah, sometimes it happens that it doesn't compile right when you save it, so you just gotta create a syntax error and it will detect it right away. Alright, there are some errors, I think. No, never mind. Alright, so I've got one of my zone spawners over here. So let's zoom out. Yep, you can see like that. Now, over here you can control the color of it. So I'm just gonna bump the opacity down so I can see through it. Now, spawnable entities, we're gonna add our tree. Now, keep in mind you can use this for rocks too. It doesn't have to be for trees only. You could even build an entire procedural world based on this system. Obviously, you would need to make a lot of twigs, a lot of checks, all of that, but you know, that's way more advanced. Maybe in the future I might do a tutorial about it, but for now we're just gonna go with this simple part. So let's go get our tree prefab, select it, and add it to the spawnable list. I'm gonna remove this, and I'm just gonna check that it actually got done. So let's go ahead and hit play and see what happens. Okay, nothing's gonna happen actually. So amount to spawn, the amount to spawn, let's default it just for now to 10. So actually no, this shows entity. This one right here, amount to spawn, we're gonna default it to 10 or 12. So let's go back and see what happens. Alright, let's go ahead and hit play. And yep, okay, that's a problem. Yep, there is a problem with it. Let me check if there were any errors. Nope. Okay, I think I know what I missed. So over here after found spot equals true, we're gonna do geo return no. I believe that's what we're supposed to do. So let's go ahead and see if it actually does it now. Okay. Okay. Alright, never mind. Just delete this. I know what happened. Yeah, basically what's going on is we are not resetting our timer. So it still keeps going. So down here right after our 4, we're going to do current timer equals 0. And there we go. Now let's go ahead and check this again. There we go. We got 10 trees spawning inside our range. Now you can see if I do this, so I'm gonna up the width of it. You can see that if I do that and I go ahead and spawn, it spawns along the box. So you can customize where things spawn. Alright, now next thing, make sure we only have 20 trees spawned at any time. So to be honest, I forgot how to do that while doing the tutorial right now, so I'm gonna quickly check the original script and I'll be back with you guys in a moment. Alright guys, so here's what we're gonna do. Let's go over here, and now here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna do 0. And I'm just gonna put this into a function for the sake of having it organized. You don't have to do it, you can just put it on this right here, but I'm not gonna do that because it's pretty annoying. Now what we're going to do is actually, yes, do it into a function because we're gonna do something else. Do it like how I'm doing it right now. We're gonna do a public float. So this is a type of function that will return a float. So we can do, so let's do get trees available, get available entities. So we can do this and we can do a return 1. Just for now, we're gonna do return 1. Now over here we can just straight up do int amount to respawn equals get available entities. Okay, get available entities. There we go. Now basically this function always returns a float value, but we cannot do it like this because we need a preset value that will not be null. So we're gonna do equals 0 and then we're gonna do amount to respawn equals get available entities. That should do it. Okay, I know what's going on. This is a float and it needs to be an int. So yeah, that's what's going on. There we go, no syntax error. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna check everything on this function and then we're gonna pass that value onto amount to respawn. And then amount to respawn is gonna be chosen over here. So let's go ahead and actually do this. So delete the return. And first thing we're gonna do is we gotta check if we have any null objects on our list. Why are we doing that? Because the list, every time the object gets destroyed, I believe the list doesn't automatically delete it. It just has like a null object. So we need to do that. But first, I'm gonna go ahead and check that because I'm not sure. What we're gonna do is over here on our raycast on the spawn object function, we're gonna do spawned entities that add, and we're gonna add the spawned obj. So there we go. Save it and let's actually check that. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit play. Okay, compile error up here. Okay, let's just do again return 1. Well, I'm gonna return 10 so I can spawn multiples. Alright, let's compile everything and hit play. Alright, so they're getting at it. Now I'm just going to choose one of them and delete it. And let's select our zone spawner. Yeah, you see, it says missing game object. Now what we want to do is we're going to run a for through our list. And then all we're going to do is delete the missing objects. So we're going to remove this one. And based on that, all we have to do is basically just subtract our max entities. We take away the amount that we have on our spawn entities, and that's pretty much it. So here's what we're gonna do. Right over here, let's just leave that return so we don't get any null ref, any syntax error, sorry. And what we're gonna do is run a for int I equals 0 if I is less than spawn entities dot count I plus plus, and then down here if spawned entities I equals null, then spawned entities dot remove add, and we're gonna do I, and there we go. It's as simple as that. Now next thing is we are gonna return max entities minus spawned entities dot count, and don't worry if we are the max amount of objects, because if we got 20, then let's say your max entities is 20 and you got 20 in your list, then 20 minus 20 equals 0, so we're good in that. Now let's go ahead and make sure that works. Oh, also we are going to have to do one more check. Over here we gotta make sure, so if spawned entities dot count is greater than 0, then we run the for, otherwise we forget about it. The reason for this is because on our initial the first time that we go through it, we're gonna get an error because we are not gonna have anything on that list. So there we go. So we're gonna spawn, okay, max entities is 20. We should be getting 20. There we go, we spawned 20 objects. And it's pretty much working. Now, I am going to do one more thing. I'm gonna add 2 trees. And I'm gonna add them to our list. So, you don't have to do this. This is just for me to test. So, I'm gonna add both of these trees to our spawned entities to make sure that we're only spawning 20. And I'm gonna create one more where it's gonna be a third tree, but I'm gonna delete it to make sure that we're not getting that error. So that tree, I'm gonna go ahead and delete it. We got the missing game object, and now we should only get 20 spawn entities and no errors. So let's make sure that works. Yep, we got 20. Well, that's pretty much it for the video, guys. That's all we had to do, and we got it. I'm just gonna delete these trees and reset the list back to it. Also, I realized I did not explain this, but how you use the script is pretty simple. You just create an empty game object, and then to that game object, you add the random spawner script. That's it. And then you just customize it to your own liking. You can use this to spawn rocks, spawn trees, spawn anything you want. You could even use it to spawn grass, to be honest. It's up to you how you use it, but it's a pretty useful tool to have on your game, and it's gonna save you a lot of time. Now, let me just make sure we made this this tree. We did make it gatherable. Yep. So what we're going to do now, I'm just gonna put this over here by where my player is. So let me just find my player. Okay, that's where it is. I'm just gonna put this area by my player right by here, and I'm gonna up this to 40, and I'm gonna put that on everything, and we're just gonna check that that you can actually go ahead and take the trees down. So let's go ahead and test it. Alright, I believe this was the stone hatchet. Okay, we need to get the UI working for the pickup. That's not the stone hatchet. Okay, here's the hatchet. So, yeah. Okay, let me just mute the audio. So, you can see we're getting wood from it. It should go down at 100 wood. Well, it should just disappear. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's working. Now, don't worry about the wood thing. We're gonna get the tree to fall, but I don't want to make this video any longer. It's already like 45 minutes, so I don't want to make it much longer. What we're going to do is, on next tutorial, we're just gonna do that really quick. It's not that hard to do. We're gonna do it really quick, and then I don't exactly remember what next tutorial is supposed to be. I have a list of it, so I can't tell you exactly what is it going to be. So yep, that's pretty much it for the video, guys. I hope you guys liked it. Now, no, I haven't been uploading for a while. I believe I said on my last two videos, but you know, I'm slowly getting back to it, to working on the channel, making tutorials. Also, I'm gonna be putting up a video soon about a new tutorial series that I'm planning on doing, and it should be pretty cool. It shouldn't be that long of a tutorial series, and I'm gonna be doing both of them. So this tutorial series and the new one side by side. That way, there's more variety in the content of the channel, and you know, you don't have to follow a single tutorial series if you want. If you want to make a survival game, you can make it. If you want to make the other kind of game, you can also make it. It's up to you guys. And I will also be making in the future, I want to finish one of this tutorial series first, how to make a full network. So not the network solution, but how to use a network solution. And I'm gonna be showing you how to make a client and server based structure. Pretty much, you know, like how a game like Rust works, where you have your client and you connect to a server, then you can play it and everything. I'm not gonna be showing you how to put that into this game, but I will be showing you how to make this game multiplayer using Photon networking. It's a semi-free networking solution that you can use, and you know, if you want to like hop in with your friends and everything, it should be pretty cool to do. Now, that's gonna be all for the video, guys. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please consider subscribing, hitting the like button, and leave a comment down below. It helps a lot, and I'll see you